Dude, I was not expecting anything like this to happen, so I don't know. Buckle up, it's gonna be a crazy video. Basically, the first thing I did was I got some mods like this mod, NoTorchLuck, and I got some kind of terrible mods that you'll see. A durability mod, Overhaul, which some people say is good, but I personally don't enjoy. And I got just a bunch of terrible mods. As you can see here, the spawn rate is absolutely insane. The whole world is corruption, and basically we're gonna make our quality of life absolutely horrendous for the next little bit of this playthrough. So on my first attempt, I actually got soft locked. This attempt was kind of rough because I didn't understand quite the rules of the playthrough, you know, what I had to do to survive. My first thought was, since it's the corruption and there's just an absolute myriad of enemies, I would have to build up and get away from the enemies. I assumed that they would leave me alone once I got high up enough, but I actually ran out of building materials, and also the spawn point reset for some reason. I was trying to have it spawn me on top of the pillar, but I guess I built it too high. So let's go to attempt 2, where we'll spend the rest of this video. This attempt actually started off pretty well. I was able to get down below the spawn and kind of make a little safe haven for myself like I did in the first attempt. But in this attempt, I decided to go about building our structure a little bit better. So I started making stairs actually to get out of the area below, because I needed to move up. At least that's what I thought. I was going to try and get away from the corrupt enemies. As you can see here, this is kind of like a time lapse of how ridiculously tedious it was to get all the blocks to get out of here. Just showing you how awful the quality of life here is. Yeah, dude, it actually took so long just to get. Something else I didn't mention, but you can see here, is I have a mod installed that makes it so you can only have one stack of each thing in your hotbar, which would come into play a lot. It was just kind of annoying and made the quality of life worse. It didn't really add anything, but it was absolutely terrible. But as you can see here, we're starting to make this structure a little bit. The thing with these mods and having them enabled, it just kind of took a really long time, especially with the Primal Start mod, which made me use wooden stubs, and I couldn't make pickaxes or anything. Plus the durability mod just made it an absolute hellscape to try and make this tower. But thankfully the towers, you know, protected me pretty well. One thing that I kind of forgot to mention too is you can see in the top right of my corner, I have 1 HP, and I might have showed that mod in the intro, but yeah, 1 HP is just absolutely horrendous when you're already dealing with such a high spawn rate and just the corruption biome. But I was able to slowly expand the tower just through the use of, you know, the resources, the wooden stubs. But it just took literally the amount of footage I have for this video is insane. Probably the most footage I've collected for just a single video since like one of my Minecraft modded playthroughs from like a year ago. Like, the amount of footage literally took me hours to expand this tower because my tools would keep breaking, and it was just such a tedious and awful process. So if you ever want to make a mod pack like this, don't. One thing I did realize at this time was that I was starting to run out of trees to refill my wooden stubs that I was using to build, and this would become such a reoccurring issue. I cannot even stress that enough. Trees are so important, and as you can see by what spawn looks like, there's not many of them. But yeah, in these early stages, one of my biggest damage dealers were actually fallen stars that would just fall naturally. They can pierce, and with the absolute insane spawn rate, they were actually able to clear out a lot of these mobs. But in this footage, you will see me resetting a lot, and that's because for some reason, when I spawned into the world, it would spawn like these like worm NPCs, and it just wouldn't spawn them after. But when I first spawned into the world, they would spawn, so a lot of the times I had to reset just to get good like monster luck, and that's a lot of the resetting you'll see me doing in these early stages, but there will be some resetting later, which is kind of a little more technical, and I'll try to explain. One of the things that was actually really useful when I reset was I was able to find like an Abigail's flower or rose or whatever it's called, and this became such an instrumental item because for some reason the durability mod made it only take 1 durability when you summon it and not durability when it takes damage. So I would literally sit here for probably an hour or two just farming with the Abigail's flower, and it ended up getting me a good amount of item. Unfortunately, what you're about to see is just a huge result of bad planning by me. So basically, how I was explaining, when I spawn into the biome, there's a chance for like these worm enemies to spawn, or it does take a second for these mobs to spawn. So I actually ended up running out of trees in the overworld in the space that I could reach without mobs getting to me. So here's me trying to manipulate the RNG with zoom and spawn states to try and make it so the mobs don't get to me before I get to that tree, so I can get another wooden stub and hopefully keep surviving. I did plant acorns around the base, but for some reason they weren't growing. If anybody has like literally any idea in the comments, I would be so open because I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, I reset a ton just so I could try and figure out how I could manipulate the save state, or entering into the world to try and get to this tree. And I did it for probably like 30 minutes, but I didn't find any good results. So unfortunately, this method kind of seems to be defunct, and it was just something I was trying to try to get to this tree, and it just didn't end up working out, unfortunately. I was able to make an enormous amount of progress in this 30-minute time window. For some reason, I was able to like freeze the game and before the world had actually loaded, and also get like a frame of another world before the world loaded. But yeah, it still ended up unsuccessful. And the reason why this is such a problem is because I had run out of trees to refill my wooden stub, and I literally could not progress. So if anybody has an idea on how to get to this tree or how to get the acorns to grow, I would be totally up to hearing your ideas, because I am not sure how to fix this. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, drop some support and I will try and make more of this series, hopefully with higher production. I just kind of wanted to get this video out just to get myself back in the YouTube game a little bit. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.